You're tuning in to Geek Speak, a Geek Insider production. We're sitting with special guests in entertainment, news, and tech. So sit back and enjoy the show as we geek out together right now. Good evening, everybody. We've got 3 special guests with us and a brand new co-host. What? I'm going to drop this card and go around the room and let these guys introduce themselves. See, my new co-host. Go ahead.
Hey.
Put up on the big screen here.
Oh, boy. Hey, everybody. I'm C. Michael Lanning. I'm an independent artist. I've done work for Silverline, work on the new Continuum comic that's out there, the short story Reapers with Meredith Loughran. I'm also a co-anchor on Weekended that comes on Friday where we talk about mainstream and indie news comics because to us there's no difference. And, of course, Sunday brunch. And now, right here on Geek Speak. So it's so good to be here to talk to everybody. So,
hey, see, you clean up really well. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Russ, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. I do podcasts, creator interviews. I've had cooking shows, 3D printers, pretty much people from all walks of life. So if anybody has ever any projects or anything like that, they can hit me up. I do the interviews on Sundays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central. And I also have a review show that I do on Saturdays.
Awesome.
And I am...
Whoops. Sorry about that. Go ahead. I didn't mean to stomp on you.
Oh, no, you're good. And I was going to say, and I'm also the owner of Russ Explode Studios. And I have my first book that I'm putting out there now. So
awesome. Are you done? You done?
I'm done this time.
All right.
Come on.
Hey, Grant.
Hi, everybody. My name is Grant Lankard. I think I'm probably the only person on the internet who doesn't have a YouTube show or a podcast. I do have a newsletter. You can go to monarchpublishing.net to sign up for my newsletter. And this is my comic book, Beowulf, and we'll probably talk about that more later.
Oh, most definitely. And John Celestri.
Hi, as Meredith says, I'm John Celestri. I've been a classic 2D animator and comic book creator since 1975. I animated the first appearance of Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I've animated on He-Man and She-Ra, Dragon's Lair, the video games Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, Rock and Rule, sort of the Rocky Horror Picture Show of animation. I've animated Batman. And I've got several lines of comics that I've crowdfunded.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right, and here we go. Thank you guys for being here on Geek Speak. You know, we have been trying to gear our Monday night show to be more about comics, comic talk, industry, and things like that. And of course, we're going to promote your Kickstarters because all 3 of you have an active Kickstarter. Right now. And one of you, hold on a second. Let me just make sure. Let me just confirm before I say this. All right. One of you has got a project we love. What?
Oh, cool.
How in the heck? And you know what? That would be Mr. Grant Lankard for Beowulf. What was that like to get a project we love on Kickstarter? And what was the magic sauce? Because I want to know.
Short answer, I have no idea.
So what it is see, he's a millennial slacker. And he's the only one that doesn't have a podcast, so they felt sorry for him.
Right.
So
oh, man, is that what it is?
Because that's what his book's about, a millennial slacker. So, I mean, how do we know that he's not writing from the heart?
And a 10-ton dragon.
Well, this is a G-rated show, right? So I can't tell you what I actually did.
No. You know what? I don't have do I have the disclaimer? Oh, look at that. Whoa. What?
There you go.
It's the evening show. You know, we can, our language is not an issue. Just don't say anything illegal, okay?
That means you're not safe, Grant. That's what that means.
that means you were good until you said you had to do something to get the project we love. And that's kind of under the umbrella of being illegal.
I didn't see him on my street corner, so all good.
Hey man,
you know.
message me later. Message me later. Let me know what I got to do.
Say text. Here's my number.
Oh, Grant. So I mean, seriously, was there? Was it? I mean,
I think well,
obviously nobody really knows what the secret sauce is.
yeah,
but...
I think that they're super secretive about it, right?
Mhm.
And I think to a certain degree, it's kind of subjective. I mean, most of the stuff that people throw out there as like the way you get the project we love is just stuff you should be doing anyways. You know what I mean? Like putting lots of pictures on it. So I'm looking at what is that noise?
I have
Sorry.
no idea.
Yeah,
Okay. There you go. Somebody's juicing up.
Sorry, I thought I muted my mic.
So, I mean, I think the fact that it's kind of fun. It's not as serious as some of the other Kickstarter projects. And of course, this is all just me speculating. I don't know for sure. I think because it tends to be fun. They tend to be projects that are a little bit more fun. I think one of the things that helped me is the fact that it has a very diverse cast of characters. I think they tend to like projects like that. I think the fact that sometimes it's projects that have like a real life element to it. Like I think the fact that one of the characters was based on my personal cat, they liked that fact.
Oh, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so one of the characters, Mooney, is based on my actual cat, Mooney. I modeled the look after him, and if you ever met Mooney, he kind of just has this air about him, like he's a wise old wizard. So Hazel, who's the girl that's there in the image that you're showing, one day she discovers that her cat is the reincarnation of an 8th century wizard. And he has like I picture him having the voice of like Ian McKellen. He's very dignified and wise and ponderous. Kind of like my real life cat, or at least that's how I like to picture my cat.
So when you get home, he stands in the doorway and he says, "You shall not pass."
Right. At least not until I pet him.
That's awesome. So 9 days to go, 165 backers. That is quite impressive. Now, are you okay if we played the video here? And I just wanted to know about the copyright. Is there any copyright music on that?
No, all the music is good.
All right. Do you mind if I play it?
Absolutely. No, I don't mind.
No, you don't mind. He minds. No, I don't mind.
You know what I
all
mean.
right,
Yeah.
here we go.
I hate promotion. Hey, everybody. My name is Grant. This is my best friend, Mooney. Believe it or not, Mooney's not just here to look cute. He was the inspiration for one of the characters in my new comic book, Beowulf. Growing up, I loved comic books, and I used to make a lot of them. When the comic book industry crashed as a teenager, I decided I needed to get a 9-to-5 job. I was as miserable as the guy in this stock photo, so I worked on an anthology series in my free time. When the global pandemic hit, I had a lot more free time, and I figured now is my chance to live my dream of doing a monthly comic book. I resurrected an idea that I used to draw in notebooks as a kid called Beowulf, and I updated it with some new characters like our friend Mooney here.
Hazel always knew there was something special about her cat Mooney, but she's still shocked when Mooney opens his mouth to tell her he's just had a vision. An ancient evil has awoken after centuries of sleep, and only one man can stop it, the legendary warrior Beowulf. Unfortunately, it's been over 1,000 years since he slayed a dragon, and he's been reincarnated as this guy. His name is Victor, and he's more unemployed millennial slacker than mighty warrior.
Beowulf is an epic tale that spans centuries. Heroes in one lifetime might become villains in the next. Lovers in one life may become enemies in the next life. But obviously that's not all going to happen in the first issue, which is all I'm asking you to back today. Everything for issue 1 is finished. So if you've been screwed by Kickstarters in the past, you don't have to worry about that. When I say everything is done, I mean everything. The art, the lettering, the inking, the colors, everything. And look at how great the art looks. Portuguese artist Antonio Brandão helped me out with this comic book, and he has a long list of credentials. Honestly, I think this comic book is worth buying just for the art alone. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how do I know this comic book is any good? I mean, obviously, I think it's good because I wrote it. All I can tell you is that when I was writing the finale in issue 6, I couldn't stop crying. I personally believe with that much passion, this comic book can't be bad. What's that you say, Mooney? You're saying if this comic book doesn't get funded, you're going to be super sad? Oh, you don't want to make that face sad. Look at him. He's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, look at how cute he is. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you all back my Kickstarter. Thank you.
Now, what is it like to watching yourself and your video? What kind of feedback have you gotten for that? Because there's a Wednesday evening show normally for Backer Paws, and for those videos. Quite honestly, it's a little bit long, for an elevator pitch, but it's of course the cat.
Right.
I mean, there are actors out there who's like, never act with cats or with animals and kids, so of course it's hard to resist.
I think the cat's the reason that Kickstarter loved it. That's what I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe. Yeah, it's awkward watching yourself on video, I think, as always. I don't know, does anybody actually like watching themselves on video?
No.
I think some people do.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe just a
I'm not
bit.
saying me, but yeah. So I love hearing the Genesis story about Beowulf. And what's funny is when you said Antonio Brandão, he's the artist for my one of my comic books also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we have a connection there. I feel like cosmic twins.
That explains why he's always so busy.
Yeah. I've got to get in touch with him. Antonio, I love you. I promise I will email you soon. But yeah, he's the artist on my comic book, The Dying, which I've only kind of teased a little bit on my own Kickstarter, which ended almost a month ago. So getting ready to fulfill that too. And it was a book of prose, but a lot of that was going into the reason behind the Kickstarter was to help fund the art to make comic books, so that is really cool. But so of course I'm going to love the art.
Right.
And here we go for anybody who's tuning in. See, do you have any questions? I feel like I'm taking over the mic here.
No, that's the way. So he did all the art, including the colors and everything as well? Or
Antonio did the pencils, I did the inks and the colors.
Oh, cool.
And the lettering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, who in the room does their own lettering?
I do.
Well,
Sometimes
when I
do my own hand lettering too.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to do that.
Oh, that's obviously. I grew up that way. My dad was a mechanical engineer, and he would work on he'd be hand lettering maps and plans back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. So I got that from him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use that? I can't remember what it's called. A little circle thing with the dots.
Oh no! I when I do hand lettering, I'll do the for special effects and for things like sometimes title,
Okay.
things of that sort. But I'll type, but before doing hand lettering in comic books today, for comic strips and things of that sort, I was always doing, I'd have my little graph, and T-square, all of that straight across, and then lettering it that way.
Put the lines and then write on the lines and everything.
Oh yeah. Well, you'd have your eraser, and then erase all your stuff after you've inked it, and there you go, good to go.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
tell me about this whole cross promotion thing, the Russell Allen Grant Lankard connection here.
So I was talking to Russ about maybe doing a cross promotion, and he showed me some of the artwork from his book, and I noticed that there was a dragon in Xenonanite Titan. So I said, well, why don't we do something? Both of our stories have a dragon in it. So Russell came up with the idea of kind of doing almost like a yin yang of the two dragons.
Mm-hmm.
We just sketched it up. I hired an artist. This is in Antonio. I can't remember who I got to draw this, but I inked and colored it, and it's going to be a window cling.
Oh, cool.
I love
wow, that's
that.
neat.
So if you back both Russ and my project, you get a free window cling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
neat.
only physical backers, of course.
Right. Very cool. And I'm really excited about seeing this. And quite frankly, it's just like I have to watch my spending. I'm like, if I had won the lotto, I'd be like, I want this all. I want the big package, because the artist sketch and comic book also. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm sorry?
The artist sketch?
Oh, it's my dragon is on. Oh, you mean for the
pledge?
For
Yeah.
the pledge,
I still don't know what I'm going to do with that.
Shh! Don't tell the people that.
I'm going to do a sketch for everybody who donates more than $40. It's probably going to be either Beowulf or Mooney or one of the characters in the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It might be more personalized for people that I know, or maybe I'll email people and see if they want something personalized.
Very
That sort
cool.
of thing.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. So I kind of want to go around the room and ask you guys, what was the genesis of your entry into comic books, like creating them, not just enjoying them as young people, but when, if you remember, was it that you said, hey, I want to do this?
Who wants to go first?
John, let's hear. John Celestri. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay. I started. In terms of knowing what a comic book was, it was back in the days when you could go to a candy store and you'd see the comic books, and I'd be walking with my folks, and I might have been about 5, 6 years old. That basically, I've always wanted to be a comic book artist, and it wasn't until I was about 23 years old that I actually got interested in animation. So prior to that, for like 18 years, I'd make my own comic books, and I would do my own bits, and even sent stuff off to DC Comics in New York. Well, because I grew up in Brooklyn, I sent pages of Superman and whatnot, and I got invited over to take a look at do a tour and what have you, and but I always wanted to be a comic book artist or a comic strip artist. So it was always there in my blood in terms of telling stories, writing, that sort of thing. So this is not new to me. This is I'm just kind of going back, full circle. I don't do animation anymore because there's really no place to do it. But I mean, I did do a 2.5 minute animated film of Snuffy and Zoe that I have on my YouTube channel, but the problem is that there's no place really to show it. It doesn't matter today. I've had comments like, "This is way too innocent for the internet." So
How
yeah,
is it too innocent for the internet?
yeah. Well, go to my web channel and you'll see, Stuffy and Zoe, and you've seen the comic book, Meredith, and that's the material, and they just, yeah. It also takes too long to do it. I mean, I can crank out a page and a half or so a week of comic book, and I can do two issues a year of 32 pagers. I can do that and be able to keep a story going for long periods of time. Whereas with an animated film, when you're doing everything yourself, it's at least a year and a half to do 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're doing it classically by hand and painting and doing everything, plus creating your own soundtrack, doing all that stuff the way I would do normally, it's a highly intensive work. I mean, it's 24 frames a second of film. Doing it on two frames. That's 12 frames, 12 drawings per second. But I'm also getting kind of older here with my hands, and so I gotta get there's a lot of only so much pencil mileage left in these hands, and I would rather put it in a comic book where you could at least look at it for longer than a quarter, 1/24th of a second.
I can't imagine putting that much work into something.
Oh well, that was my that's how I made my living,
Right.
and that's what you would do. So yeah, that's. But then again, I did a lot of drawings. I did a lot of bad drawings, and now I don't do so many bad drawings because I've gotten them all out.
Yeah, the bad drawings out, right?
Yeah.
But as an artist, are you ever satisfied with your work, or is it just like, okay, it's a deadline, I just have to let it go?
Meredith, my thing is, if I put everything I can into something, then it's what I have when I finish that. If I have a problem with it, well, okay, it's only going to be minor at this point in my career, and so I'll just go on to the next one. But I'll tell you one thing: pages that I like on Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, the first page is nowhere near as good as the 80th page that I've done. So there's that. But I'm not going to go back and redraw anything, because why?
Yeah.
I mean, you go through it, you're done. First of all, as long as it's all professional, in quality, then it's fine. If you put in your entire energy into something and you get 80 to 85% of the way there for satisfaction, good enough. Go to the next one, because that means that you'll be better. Your 85% of expectation will be stronger on the next one, and so on and so forth. It's kind of like perfection is getting there, but you're never going to reach that.
Right.
You're just not. So that's
Russell, what about you? I know that you and I have had a few conversations, so I kind of understand the genesis of your story. But for anybody who's new that's tuning in, at what point were you like, nope, I'm making this book, or even starting in comics at all?
Well, I mean, I was into comics at a young age, and back when I was in second, third grade, I would write my own comics. I mean, they weren't that good. They were stick figures. They haven't changed much. But, it was the writing that really was good about it. And so when I got into like fourth and fifth grade, we did these coloring pages. She would hand out these, outlines and say, hey, here, color this. and then I want you guys to write a story about this picture. And I would always come up with like these 4 and 5 page elaborate stories about what was going on in the picture. And my teacher's like, I absolutely love this. You know, she's like, you could really make a living at doing this if you wanted to. And I'm like, you know, I always wanted to make comics. I wanted to write. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to, you know, create stories because I'm always good at, you know, making up my own stories in my head when I was bored. And so, you know, fast forward through the years, people are like, oh, no, you can't do that. You know, that's not, you can't make a living at that. You'll never be able to own a house and a car and, you know, the whole 9 yards. And so, you know, I got my 3 to whenever job, and I work, and, you know, it's been miserable. And so 3.5 years ago, well, I mean, back it up, 10 years ago, I was working over the road one night a week, and I told my wife, I said, you know, buy me a Chromebook. Let's do this book. And so that night that I was over the road, I was writing the book. Never really thought of entering into the comic book world with it. And in 15, when my son was born, he had to have open heart surgery. I was almost done with the book. I kind of dropped the project just because we were in and out of the hospital with heart surgeries and all that stuff. So fast forward to where I was going to was it's 2000, and I guess it was the end of 2018. I got back into the comic book scene. I started promoting artists, promoting writers, illustrators, and, you know, getting back into the scene, making friends and talking to them. And, you know, I talked about this project, and they're like, oh, you know, why don't you finish it and get it out there? And it's like, you know, we just have had so much stuff happen over the years. I just, you know, being the only one working, and, you know, with stuff going on with Roderick, I don't have time for it. And so last year, whenever I got, you know, the idea to pick up this book because of the whole cancer scare, it was kind of like, you know, I want to do this, and I want to do this. Not only do I want to finish writing the book, break it up into a trilogy, because it's like about 900 pages for the entire book. And I want to finish the origin story and turn it into a comic book. And I feel like, you know, releasing the prose that possibly out there somewhere, somebody's going to read the book and be like, I love this story. The story's badass. I want to be an artist for it. I know this guy wants to make a comic. I've heard him talk. I'm going to reach out to him and say, hey, I want to do art for the, you know, let's make up a script. Let's continue on the story of Xenonanite Titan. And so that's kind of where the whole thing evolved. I mean, it started a long time ago. I wanted to do it. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it. And now that I've, you know, started doing the book again, I feel like I'm on the track to finally getting to what I've always wanted to do, and that's create comic books. So I'm really excited for that, because I feel if somebody really is that engrossed into the story, we can make something great with it. Because I don't want to be 100% and the artist be like, you know, the story's all right. You know, I want them to be like, heck yeah, let's do this, because it's going to show in the work. You know, these two people really love this character. They really love this book and the story that goes along with it.
Now, the reason why I stopped on this image, comic book for kids, I recognize the artist, I think, but can you tell us about the artist and this comic book for kids?
So the artist is Stuff Anapodopoulos Wilson, or Stuff as we call him for short, Wilson. I give him trouble because everybody always asks him what Stuff is short for, so I just say it's because it's Stuff Anapodopoulos. So, you know, comic books for kids is a huge deal for me. So, you know, being in a room for 12 hours waiting to hear if your son made it through open heart surgery at a week old, you know, you see all these kids suffering in the hospital every time we've been in the hospital with Roderick. And then, you know, fast forward in 2017, you know, at 2.5, he had his second open heart surgery, and he's going to have these for the rest of his life because he has a cadaver coronary artery. And so when he was 2.5, you know, we're sitting there, we're stressed out. We've been sitting for 12 hours, and we're like, you know, we're trying to console our son because they bring him out of sedation, and he won't sit still. And, you know, we're stressed out from the day. We just want to sit back and relax, but we can't because we have to be there for him. And, you know, it's not that we don't want to be there for him. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot to take on in a 24-hour period. And so, you know, the nurses bring in this, you know, dump truck from, you know, Dollar Tree, this dollar toy, and it just totally changed his demeanor. It totally changed his his emotional state, and he was excited. He was happy. He forgot about the fact that he was in pain. He was sitting there playing with the truck on the bed. It didn't just help Roderick's state of mind, his emotions. It helped us because it gave us 15, 20, 30 minutes to sit back and be there for each other and, take in and, decompress from the day and all the stuff that's happened and be like, thank God we made it through the day. And so I want to say it was about 2018, right when I got back in the comic book scene. I met John and Mary, which is the LCS. It's not really my local comic shop. It's my 15 and a half hour away comic shop, but I met them online. I really liked them. This was something that they did every weekend as, they would put a slab or a comic book and say, send in $10. All the money goes to comic books for kids. And, you get put on a wheel, you can win this thing. And it wasn't so much about winning the prize, it was the message. Comic Books for Kids is a great organization. They take comic books, pop figures now. They've also expanded to Pez dispensers and coloring books. They have partnership with, Dark Horse. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. They have partnership with Dark Horse, Image, a lot of indie creator books. That they send them books, but they still have to ship them to these hospitals. And you guys all know, everybody in the audience and here on this panel knows how expensive it is to ship one comic book. This guy is sending them to 250 books at a time to hundreds of hospitals all over the United States. And so that's what they do. They ship these comic books to kids in the hospitals, and the hospitals distribute them. The Pops figures, the Pez dispensers, the coloring books, the comic books to the kids. Kids that may not ever get to go home again. This could be their half an hour of happiness. And I really respect that because it's something that I see firsthand. And so I wanted to include that as a part of the Kickstarter. Not only, it's pertinent to me. It's me as Xenonanite Titan reading a book to my son after an open heart surgery with my daughter at the end of the bed with a get well balloon. It was a way of, having something that would tie it in both the Xenonanite Titan and would help advertise Comic Books for Kids, which is an amazing organization that's super important to me. And I love the fact that I have the opportunity, to give back to them and to, be able to advertise them out there to try to help them make the money to ship these comic books. And it's 100% of proceeds. And I actually had the honor of meeting Mark, who runs Comic Books for Kids at C2E2 in 2019 in March. He was there. And so I stood there and I talked to him for, a while. And we talked about Roderick and, all the things that he planned to do in the future. And, he's a great guy and what they do is great. It really makes a difference.
I'm watching this and I keep looking at their the original art going by. It's like, wow, that's a lot of original art you got on there. That's amazing stuff.
So, to back up, I never intended for my prose to have art in it. So last year happened. In January, they found a 3x5 centimeter mass on my spine. I had a PET scan at the end of January that said I had significant evidence of malignancy. Mid-February, I said, you know what? The biggest thing I regret in my life is not writing this book and finishing writing it, getting it published, and putting it out there. I know all these indie creators. I can make it happen. And, and then COVID happened and everything shut down. And I watched all my indie friends suffer. They can't go to cons. They have no venue to promote their work to get people to buy stuff because that's their main income. And so in 2018, I started Art Exposure. It was about doing podcasts with getting artists on, to help promote their work. And so it kind of was a segue between Art Exposure and what I always wanted to do. Russ Explode Studios was born. I created the company. I registered as a DBA in the state of Missouri. I made it my author page. And, I kind of was like, hey, do you guys want to do a piece for the book? I'm going to do chapter illustrations. So, I started talking to some of the indie creators that I really look up to that I think do phenomenal work, and they don't really have much of a following or, a way to get their work out there. And plus, this was a new medium to show their work often. Maybe an author somewhere could see this and say, hey, I really love what you did for Russell's book. Would you do a piece for my book? And so it was a way to not only, help cushion their financial blow with COVID, but it kind of led into, hey, Ed, you did a piece for my book. Do you want to come on and, we'll just do a live video together? That turned into, hey, can I be on your show? And it's like, well, it's not really a show, but I'm like, sure. And, now here I am a year later, I've done over 100 creator interview podcasts, and I do it 2 nights a week. And it's what I wanted to do back in 2018. So 2 great things became of this. And what I was messing around with on my computer. I just got a message back that the mass is gone. I had a CT scan this morning, and it's been weighing on my mind. Really bad.
I was going to ask you about that. I remember you talking about that. I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I've been waiting all day. Last time they made me wait a week, and I was like about in tears, dying to know what was going on, because I'm like, no news means bad news. They always send me my test results, and I had to wait until I went to the doctor's appointment. So I was going in expecting the worst. So I told him, I was like, next time, make sure you review the results so that it gets sent to me, because I've been worried this whole time, thinking, it's 10 times its size, or
you're gonna
it's
get
spread
sick with stress.
Yeah, and so
man.
it was a huge relief, and so I'm glad that it happened. Would I be excited if I did have cancer? No, but I'm glad that it happened, because it was the boot that kicked me in the ass and said, get out there, get this project out there, help these indie creators out, do your podcast, make it happen. And so I'm making it happen. I got the first book up, and I'm super excited. I cannot wait to get this into people's hands. Is it my best work? No. I want people to be able to read this and go, hey, I loved it. This is why. But you could do more of this. Or, hey, I hated your book, and this is why. I want that constructive feedback, that constructive criticism to help me grow as an author. And that's why I want to do it myself. I want to do the publishing and everything, because I want the story to be the way I intended it to be. And I want to be able to interact with the people that buy my book. I don't want, some publisher printing 10,000 copies and sending it out everywhere. I want to give each book love. I want to handle it. I want to sign it if they want it signed. Write a special message to them. Thanks for buying my book. Have that personal interaction, because that's just me. And Meredith knows. I mean, we did a podcast together. She came on. It was supposed to be for an hour for the Compendium of Dread. We ended up being on till midnight. It was like 4-hour show. So I love talking to people, and that's what I love about the cons. And so I'm really excited to have the opportunity to work with people and get this book out there, give people a chance to read Raziel's story.
Now, can we play the video? Are we okay?
Absolutely.
With
the music I made myself. It's a little lengthy, but
how long is it?
Like, I don't know, like 4 minutes, I think.
Are we okay with a 4-minute video, you guys?
It's got a pretty killer soundtrack.
You have to go. All right, John's. Well, you know what? We'll play that at the end, because we want to get to John's as well, because he's got to get going in about half an hour.
Not a problem at all.
And speaking of the half an hour break, I'm going to play a little break here. So if you guys need to grab your drink, and we'll be right back after this.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
And we're back. This is Geek Speak. I'm Meredith Loughran with my co-host, C. Michael Lanning. Hey, and we've got our special guests, John Celestri, Grant Lankard, and Russell Allen. Now, let's see, John Celestri, we're going to get your Kickstarter up here as well. Hold on a second here. My husband just sent me an image of food, and I just got distracted. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Why would he do that to me?
Yeah.
This is cruel.
I know. I'm like, okay, it's dinner time, you guys. I'm out of here. So gone. Let me grab the auto here, and we're going to share the screen. Okay, so Bloodwing Angel. Tell us a little bit about this. You've got 22 days to go, 24 backers, not quite to goal yet. Let's try and get him over the finish line. John Celestri, you've got the mic.
Okay, well, it's about an angel, the youngest, most innocent angel in creation, is unjustly banished to the mortal realm, and there Michael winds up having to survive amongst demons and sinners and living dead and also all kinds of characters. But the thing about it is that in the the angel is in both in all three of the major religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. You have angels in all of them, and they are angels are neither male nor female, but they are beautiful creatures or terrible creatures, depending upon the depiction, in the various scriptures. Well, in this case, Michael is hurled through the cosmos, rips the fabric of the universe, and it restitches immediately, but not in the same way that it was. Mm-hmm. So now everything is changed. But in landing in this on the planet, Michael is transformed into a human, in a semi-human form. It's in more of a semi-immortal, but is changed into human form, with being both male and female. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you now have a situation where you have a unique character that is innocent and has to deal with an evil place. And so that's it's a mature item, but I don't think any more mature than you'd see on HBO or Starz or even Saga,
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm doing it as remembering what it was like growing up in Brooklyn. This is where Michael lands in an alternate version of Brooklyn, and winds up becoming the guardian angel for this family that has a you call it a religious, it's a worship a store, but all kinds of religions, human sacrifices, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, everything is there. Everything is okay in this society. And across the street from this religious shop is where the mobsters have their clubhouse, the 1717 Club, and they come by over to this house, to the store, to get their religious items and go to churches and what have you. It's like what it was like when I grew up in Brooklyn, because my family had a religious gift shop, and there was a mobster hangout right across the street, and they would do that sort of thing. So I'm bringing in my background into that, and so the whole idea is that I wanted to take everything that I know from creating stories and animation and comic books and put it into this without worrying about what any kind of censorship would be. As long as it was good taste, I don't do wanton violence. There's violence, but there's no wanton sexuality in it. But there is, I'm not going to, say, oh, I've got to place her, Michael's hair, all over the place and make sure that I cover up all the right spots and position. No, I will play with it, play the scene the way it should be, and then don't show it to the kids because it's rated for 17-year-olds, 17 plus.
Right. Now, so John, I'm familiar with your previous campaign.
Yep.
What's more fun for you? Kind of like the all ages, or do you lean more towards adult? Because I have stories that cross multiple genres and age groups and things like that, and I do have a preference.
Mm-hmm. It really depends on what kind of response I'm getting. You see, having done all kinds of animation, whether it be rock and roll, which is very rock, is definitely a 17 plus with drugs and with all kinds of stuff. But I also have done the Care Bears. I've also, my range is at all ends of the spectrum. So therefore, it really depends on what the project is. I just put myself into that. Like, as you know, Snuffy and Zoe, those comic books, that was one thing. Mega Moose was something else. Yeah. And now Bloodwing Angel is something else. Mm-hmm. So I put myself into the project wholeheartedly.
And can we play your video?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And
it's
we're okay with
a
the
very
music
short
and all that?
one. It's got music, it's got more, but it's clear for everything. It's fine.
All right, awesome. Then we're gonna play Bloodwing Angel. Here we go.
Bloodwing Angel Chronicles. The adventures of Michael, an innocent angel who is unjustly banished to the mortal realm and battles to survive amongst demons, sinners, and living dead.
And I saw the beheaded monster there, John, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Right.
I like the little naughty
this
bit.
is different. Yeah, right. The naughty bits part was great.
I did that. I did that because I knew that it would be on YouTube and that. But when you get it, there are no naughty bit bans on it. But I figured, listen, why waste an opportunity for a gag?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw the headless beast, and I was like, John, that's dark. I wasn't expecting that from you.
It's not really that dark. I mean, have you ever gone to a kosher, a butcher?
It's been a really long time.
No.
In fact, we did have. I had family members up in Vermont who had a farm, and so they were like, "Don't name."
So different. No.
Yeah, don't give them names because that's food.
Well, they're once again, that's all part of what was going on. What's the story supposed to be? I mean, it's like, with Michael, an angel, instead of having just a flaming sword, they would have the whole arm would be a flaming sword. But as a semi-mortal, it can only do the finger. So there's only one finger in the middle.
Oh, all right.
You see, and here's the thing about stuff. I believe that you can have humor in anything, but as long as it's not forced, what happens, it makes you not feel like you're just, gritting away at something. But I'm not forcing gags. There are no verbal gags. They're just, there might be a little punchline here or there, punchy dialogue, but there's a lot of physical, visual humor, but it could be very dark, So
when you So when you do your gags, do you like when you're planning out the book? Are you thinking of your gags, or just sometimes those gags just kind of come up while you're writing it along? Or
You play the thing. When I do the script, I'm doing thumbnails. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. It's a real, it's a hodgepodge of material that gets slapped onto an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'll put notes on it. I will paste stuff on there. If I have an idea for a drawing, I will put it on there, and then I will divvy it all up into beats. I will work it out, and usually for me, each page is a beat. It might be a minor beat. I'll have my arc, but I'll make sure that there's a beginning, middle, and end to every page, so that you're continually flipping through. You want to turn the page.
right.
So anyway, there'll be a lot of gags that will be set up at the beginning of a panel, and then and then at the end of that page, there's the gag of some kind, but there is something there. But I don't really think about it. I don't worry about it, because as I'm drawing, then I say, okay, I'm into this. Is there something here? And sometimes it's just an accidental thing. Sometimes, whatever happens, it happens. But again, this is the way I've been working like this for decades. And so I know that's what's going to happen. I don't worry about it. I don't try and force it. But I do know that there's a molding that has to happen. And I go through the molding process, and I don't shortchange it. So, yeah.
Well, I know that you have to get going pretty soon, but the question to the room in general is, okay, so all three of you, in fact, all of us right now have an active Kickstarter.
Right.
And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. What are you doing in the in-between time when you're not promoting your Kickstarters? Are you continuing to write? Do you have the time to draw? Or is it kind of like, are other things on hold? Because I know that I'm having a hard time, I guess, prioritizing, because it seems like everything's important.
Yeah,
and it's a struggle to go, okay, I have a long list of to-do things, and sometimes not everything gets done. How are you balancing that, and what are you doing in the in-between?
You mean like laundry?
Yeah, or food.
More books.
or writing, or drawing, or
I got to remind yourself to eat.
Yeah. And I've been tired enough where we've got a few people who are tuning in here. Nina Lanning is in the side room here. And, I told her the one time I was so tired, I didn't want to chew. She's like, that's just the most ridiculous thing. I'm like, nope, don't feel like it. And I was so hungry, but yeah, what are you doing?
Does John want to go since he has to leave?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What I do is I'll get up at about 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'll have my breakfast. It'll take me about 2 hours to get going. And then I'll do that, and I'll draw. I'll work on a project. I know where my timing is. I know how long it takes me to do something. So I try to always get 4 hours in, of stuff. Okay. And after that, it's going out for a walk or what have you. There's some, but I have to do taxes, so I put in a half hour to do tax stuff, at least up to a certain point. It's kind of like compartmentalizing things. It's like I've worked at home since the late 80s, so I've had to always structure myself so that I know to get the most out of it. Kathy does most of the shop. She does all the shopping right now because of COVID. So one of us can only go, out at a time. So what's the sense of both of us going out there? So, I try and I relax in the evening. I just, because I'm I don't have to have I don't have a full-time job. This is what I do. I focus on that, and that's that. But still a matter of what you're saying about the Kickstarter. Well, I've set up the Kickstarter, and it's rolling. I know that we're going to do a number of interviews, or being on other people's shows. That's one thing. I finished the Kickstarter for all the artwork is done. Everything is ready to go. Okay, so for that, I've on my next 28 pages for the next Kickstarter, and then that's all completed. So now I'm working on the 1717 Club featurette that I will backup feature that'll go into that one, so that I could start showing the two sides of the street and what's going on with those mobsters, so that what's happening, and they're just not characters that are just being introduced later on. It's kind of like the old school of when you used to have Action Comics, and you'd have several different things going stories and characters. That's what I'm doing with these guys. So I thought about doing that. I said, okay, well, all right, that seems to be something that could be really interesting. So I just keep on going on that, and then I wind up having pancakes on Sunday, right, Meredith?
I know all about that. You have to keep the woman happy.
Yeah.
But that's something that I haven't seen on your Kickstarter, was the tease to the next book.
Oh, well, yes, you did. Look at roll. Look at it. Just if you go back to it, and you'll see the pencils.
All right. Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to add you, because I know you're sharing the screen.
Yeah.
And direct us to that.
Okay. Let me just. Okay, here we go. Okay, you see that that's okay. This is the first. This is the first two episodes. That's the first book. Okay. Now we're into the third. It says right here, the following is a rough pencil scene from episode 3.
Ah. So you wanted me to read that? Okay, I got you.
No. I'm saying
What's the videos for?
It's there.
What? I'm here for the pictures, man.
Yeah, it's there. Okay, and you see the Club 17-7, and you see the characters here.
Yeah.
So I've done the setup for that. So those are the type of characters that I will be bringing in, and they will have their own little featurette, like the Spirit. 7 pages, complete stories, but with a bit more gruesomeness than the Spirit, but it'll have the humor in it.
Right.
It'll be more like EC Comics in terms of the Tales of the Crypt or what have you, that kind of feeling to it. So, and these are all what you're seeing here. These things. These are the actual print size of what comic book size layouts are, and then I blow them up, and then I do my I really work them over, on double up size, and then I scan them and reduce them down again.
I definitely love those pencils. Love them.
Yeah, these are.
So this means just like Grant's book and everything, this is already the book we're getting is already done. It's already
complete. Yeah. And we're halfway through for the second book.
Yeah. So we know that there's more coming. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted everybody to know. So.
All right. Well, John, I'm going to put you up on the big screen so people can know where to follow you. We've also, if you guys are tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, we've got the links to all 3 of these Kickstarters in the description. So make sure that you head over there. If you can't throw at least $1 at it, hit the share button and share it out with your friends, because it does help. Those algorithms, I don't know exactly how it works, but like that $1 back and getting a backer, trying to keep the campaigns going at regularly, and sharing it out, it helps a lot. So definitely head over there. John, go ahead on the big screen and go ahead and tell people where they can follow you.
You can find me. I'm on Kickstarter right now with Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, and you can get me on Facebook as John Celestri, and then on Twitter at Celestri John, and on YouTube. I have a YouTube video, YouTube channel, John Celestri, John the Animator Guy. I have dozens of instructional videos on animation and on comic books and interviews. So there's a lot of material that you can find gleaned from that. Also, I do have a blog. It's an old blog, but it's still with great stuff from all. I've got animation drawings from Nelvana, from my Batman commercials. It's johncelestri.blogspot.com. And you can see there's a lot of material that you can see, and it's all educational. It's keeping old school stuff alive, because I still work with pencil and paper, and then I scan. So all of that stuff. Meredith,
John,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sitting with us, and I will let you let yourself out.
Okay, I will just go and leave the studio, and I thank you very much.
Have a great evening.
Night.
It was nice meeting you, John.
Nice meeting you guys.
It was very interesting.
Take care. See you, Michael. Bye-bye.
Great night.
And then there was 4. All right, ladders and chairs next. No. So we didn't get a chance to watch the Xenonanite Titan video. Are you guys okay for that?
Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? All right. I don't want anybody falling asleep here. All right. Go get your drink. Go to the bathroom if you need to. No, you want to sit here and watch this. All right.
Check out the killer soundtrack.
The killer soundtrack done by Russell Allen.
That's right. The one and only.
Did you play all the instruments? Was this like a digital?
Yeah, I did. I used my finger.
I got a finger for you. All right. No. I'm behaving. All right, here we go.
My finger type of thing. We should be good.
No. Here we go.
Hey everyone, it's Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. I'm excited to bring you Xenonanite Titan: The Fall Before the Rise. This is a project that's been 10 years in the making, and I dug it out last year and did a complete rewrite, taking something that I thought was great and made it even better. So I really hope you guys enjoy the book. One of the additions was the art that was commissioned for the book. With everything that happened last year, I thought it'd be cool to commission a few pieces to help out artists that were struggling, and I think it turned out and made something really cool. So I'll definitely continue that for the rest of the book. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the art. Thanks for checking it out.
Russ, while this is playing, can you tell us a little bit about those metal prints?
What about the metal prints? About them being limited to 10 or?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can tell us about it. You have a lot of artists who have gathered to participate in your campaign, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, so the stuff that's showing now is this is all the stretch goal art that was commissioned. This here's the cross promo with Nebula Pearl that's ending, I think, tomorrow or the next day. So I am offering prints of each of the pieces. So you can get 11 by 17 standard print, or you can get a metal print. The metal prints will be limited to 10, or the amount ordered, maximum of 10, I guess I should say. So if you are the only person that orders a metal print of Wendy Steen Shainer's art, then you'll be getting a 1 of 1. I won't be printing 10 of each. I'll be printing them to order with a maximum of 10. So some of them, like Andre Osh's piece, his piece will be, the money from that will be going back to Andre. That was a piece that he did for me. He was like, hey, I want to do some fan art of for your character, can you send me some reference images? So I sent him some of my preliminaries, sent him some of the other artist pieces and some of their preliminaries, and he made that piece up, and I was like, hey man, I absolutely love this piece. I'm going to offer it as a stretch goal. I'm going to overprint some to send to you. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, sure. Use it for whatever you want to. So I took the liberty of offering it as a print as a way to say, you know what, I appreciate you as an artist taking the time to do fan art and sending this to me. I'm going to, kick it back to you. Of course, I didn't tell him that, but, doing the prints and stuff on the other ones is kind of a way to help recoup some of the art costs, in the book. And, they're super sweet pieces. I'm absolutely in love with all of them. And everybody had the freedom to do what they wanted to. I said, look, here's the color scheme. Here's, the base art for the character. I want you to make it your own. There was only one piece that I really changed, and that was David Fott's piece. I was like, I love what you did with the leg. Can we do something a little bit different like this? And he's like, I love that idea. Let's do that. And so I gave them, creative freedom I actually gave them the excerpts from their book, and I said, look, here's the part of the book. This is the scene you're going to be recreating in your art. And so through seeing what they came up with from that, really felt great, because it was kind of like solidifying the fact that what I'm writing, I'm getting through, the scene, the emotion of the scene, or what's going on, or the landscape, like an Yvonne Rivas Fournier's piece, with Wyvernite and Raziel riding on through the unknown planet and, catching the landscape and the color scheme in the background. And they all turned out absolutely amazing.
That's some really nice stuff there.
Let me turn this over to Grant, because the question before John Celestri left was, how are you staying busy? Are you kind of focused with the Kickstarter and making sure you've funded already, but just maintaining that? Are you moving forward with the next project, and how are you kind of keeping sane with everything else that needs to be done?
As far as staying sane, barely doing that. So I'm still kind of working out. I think you called it prioritizing. It's kind of getting the balance right, if that makes sense. I think there's a balance to doing this where, if you spend too much promoting, if you spend too much time promoting, you're not getting any work done on your comic book. But if you spend all your time just working on your comic book, then nobody's going to read your comic book once it comes out.
Right.
So you have to kind of hit that balance. I think at first I kind of rebelled against the idea of spending so much time marketing. I don't know if any of you guys had that problem too. I wanted to think of myself as being an artist and a creator as opposed to a marketing person. And I think in the year 2021, we can't be that. You have to wear multiple hats. You can't just wear one hat anymore. I don't even know if those days ever actually existed where you could just wake up and do nothing but art and not have to promote yourself anywhere. The one thing that I have noticed is I can't go more than like 2 or 3 days just doing marketing and not working on my comic book at all. Because if I do that, I start to go crazy. Because there were a couple days early on in this Kickstarter where I did nothing but marketing. And I remember after like 2 or 3 days of that just being completely just dead inside, kind of. Just, I would like collapse on the bed at the end of the day. It was like, even though I wasn't doing any physical work, I was just completely drained mentally. I don't know. Have you guys found any of those things to be true?
I have to say, okay, so when I'd had the Compendium of Dread, that was when I was on Russell Allen's show to help promote. That was a 30-day marathon. And I wanted to sleep for the next 2 days after the campaign. And I was just like, oh man, there's so much work to be done. And then it was just waiting. It's like, okay, now you're waiting for the funds to clear. And then it's like, once that's cleared, it's like, okay, whatever it was that money was earmarked for, it's like, okay, that's got to get ordered. In my case, I had to write 4 new stories to put into the book. And so, and then right from there, we jumped into Enter the Continuum. And see, Michael and I have been working on, oh my God, well, I'll let you talk, but I mean, Reapers, Karma, and just.
I think what happens a lot of times too is sometimes you have those spur of the moment. We have this show to be on, and then you're like, oh, okay, give me 30 minutes to at least, brush my teeth or something.
Yeah.
So caught in there. So
that's why I'm wearing a hat, you guys. Okay.
Not to mention the constant checks on Kickstarter just to see if you got just one more backer, at least one more backer.
One more backer, right?
So yeah, absolutely. It does drain you, especially just being on here, because you got to be mentally present at all times. Especially for introverts, there is so much you drive to have to be out there, to be social. It's like, oh,
yeah.
And a lot of comic artists I know myself, introverts. So that's when marketing really becomes a hassle. So yeah, it's definitely exhausting. Even a little bit can be exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, the in between for us has been like, okay, I'm not only trying to letter 2 of these stories, but I've got other scripts that I'm writing, plus prose, plus fulfillment, plus an active Kickstarter. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why? And there are some days where
yourself.
there are some days I'm sure you guys understand what it's like, that it feels like you're running, but you realize you're on a hamster wheel. It's like, I'm exhausted. But what did I get done today? Because I spent all day on Facebook promoting myself or promoting this or hitting the share button on that. And oh my gosh, now I've got a show. And it's like, oh my God.
So I don't know if you guys have had this. I'm like very aware now of how much time things take now.
I wish I was there.
You have
I wish I was there. My timestamp is basically day and sleep.
Because it's like, I mean, like I find myself like measuring how long I spend in the shower now, like knowing, okay, if I spend like 12 minutes in the shower, that's, as opposed to 6 minutes, that's 6 less minutes that I have to work on the comic book.
To work on something, right?
And this has never been an issue for me in my entire life.
Yeah, because you're trying to prioritize as much as you can. You're trying to get as much as you can out of the day. And it just doesn't ever seem to be enough time. Even 6 minutes. Then next thing you know, you're going to have to go 4 minutes. 2 minutes. Get your wash rag and just go.
It's just, forget the soap, just water.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird for me, especially because, my whole life, whenever I work, I'm always the kind of guy who's constantly checking my watch. Like, okay, when is my work day going to be over? And, you know, since working on this comic book, I'm the exact opposite now. Because, like, I'll be sitting down there and I'll be, like, inking a page, and, like, 4 hours will go by, and I'll be like, where did that time go? Like, it felt like I just sat down here and started inking. You know, where did all that time go? It's, yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing something that you enjoy doing, and especially something like inking, where you just kind of zone out and you're part of the line, you're just feeling that flow. You lose time like that. But you know, you start when it's daylight, sun's coming up, and by the time you look up, it's nighttime. What happened? Midnight. So yeah,
Isn't it crazy? God.
Yeah, that's the only time that you're not worried about time. So
exactly.
Is it like that for y'all in writing? I know when I write, I can write, but I can only get a few words out, and then I got to stop. It's like it's too much.
Well, see, my problem is I get up at work at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get to work at 4 a.m. I work until I get done, which sometimes maybe 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And, you know, then I come home, I spend time with the kids and the wife, and we eat dinner, and then they go to bed. And then either I'm doing a podcast for, you know, trying to get on something to promote my book, or I'm doing podcasts to promote other Kickstarters, because I'm still doing my Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday shows. I'm promoting other people's stuff. And so I don't have any downtime as much. I mean, I wanted my Kickstarter video, I wanted it to be better than what it was. I made that at work. I took a break. I recorded the voiceover, put the video together, and, you know, I wanted to actually sit down and do a video here and record something. And I'm like, I don't have time. Like, by the time we get done with dinner, I either had to be on a podcast for me or a podcast for someone else, or I had time set aside for writing book 2, because I've been rewriting book 2. And the reason why I say I'm writing is the book has already been written. Book 1 got a complete rewrite. I added in Wyvernite. I added in a completely different story, changed stuff around. The interaction between Raziel and his kids changed, because when I wrote the book, I didn't have kids. Now I have kids. So their interaction now has become my interaction with my kids, to make it more realistic, to add more emotion to it. And so book 2, one of the things I had on the Kickstarter is, you know, you can be writing as a character. You can choose the name of, you know, that you want to be one of the characters. So that's something I'm going to have to go back and change in book 2. And so it's like, yes, I've still been actively writing. I've been doing podcasts, my own podcasts, and, you know, trying to balance stuff around here, you know, cooking, cleaning, washing my uniforms for work, you know, all the fun stuff in between. And it's just like, so, you know, this past week I kind of dropped the ball with marketing, because everything, you know, with today coming to a head and, you know, everything, I'm just like, man, I just don't have the psyche I don't have the mental capacity to deal with all of this stuff right now. And so, you know, Thursday and Friday I got home from work. I ate dinner with the kids, went down and took a shower, and I messaged my wife, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm wore out. I'm tired, and I'm just done.
That's that thing that's called burnout there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's like, you know, I don't want to burn out, and it's like, I'm really passionate about this project, and I really want to get it out there and tell people about it. But I also have a day job that pays the bills. And so it's trying to find the fine line of, how do I market it and work a full-time job? And I can't, you know, there's no way for me to do that.
So, yeah, so you've got another plate that you're trying to keep spinning.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, you do 3 shows a week, golly. And that takes a lot. And so I feel for you. Yeah, that 3 o'clock in the morning comes early. I know.
It comes super early, and it's like, man, again. And like Friday gets there, and you're like, thank God it's the weekend. And it's like, oh man, it's Monday morning. Oh, how did this happen?
Especially like Grant said, especially when you get into drawing or inking or anything, it goes like that. So
well, and my problem is if I sit down and write. So my process is like, you sit down, you write a few words, and you're like, all right, I got to stop for a little bit.
Yeah.
My writing process is I sit down, I write a few words, I sit here and I, you know, jam out to Pandora for, you know, 15, 20 minutes. I might spin around in my chair a few times. I just got to get in that mood to write. And then I get in that mood to write, and I write like 20 or 30 pages. and I look at it and I'm like, holy crap, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I still got to get a shower. I got to be up at 3 o'clock. And so it's like, so yeah, that's my process. And I don't take notes or anything like that. You know, my think tank time is the time in the truck all day at work. You know, I'm constantly in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how do I fix this plot hole, or how do I get from this point to this point and make it really, really good? Because it's a good idea that I have now, but I think I can do better than that. And, you know, I'll forget that I'm thinking about it. And then like 2 hours later, I'll be driving on the road and I'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. So then that night I get home and I'm like,
I've definitely had jobs like that.
Yeah.
Like
Me,
if you,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, if you have a job that's mainly physical and you don't necessarily have to use your brain too much, you can just like kind of be like letting the hamster wheel go in your head. And by the time you get home from work, you almost have that next scene written out.
Yep.
My problem is I would forget it before I can, before I get time to get home and remember it. So
Isn't that the worst feeling in the
I
world?
know, man. I was like, that was great.
The
My
worst,
two think tank moments are driving and mowing the grass. I had a few really good breakthroughs on the rewrite a book one while I was mowing the grass. I came in so excited. I'm like, you're never going to believe I figured out that. And my wife's looking at me like, what did you do? You were mowing the grass. I was like, I got this great idea for the book. Okay.
It's still kind of unmoved.
Now there's one more Kickstarter that I wanted to put up here real quickly. And that is, if I can find it, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. And that is, well, I guess the wolf is ripping through the continuum today. This is Enter the Continuum, guys. We've been highlighting the different stories because we've got 5 creative teams that are in here. I guess we are highlighting the wolf right now. We've got 88 backers, 11 days to go. We're trying to hit 100 backers minimum. I think we're going to get there. But for $1, you are going to, even for $1, you're going to get the PDF pack, which is a library of creation. We've got so many people who are bringing their PDFs into this, and I love that so many people have said, "Hey, I've got a PDF that you can throw in into that." It's over 300 pages of good.
Yeah, I know. I backed
stuff.
this. I can't remember what I did.
Yeah, I don't think it was Reapers. You know, we have an awesome virtual
really?
cover. In fact, it was funny because I sent my sister and my brother-in-law a link, and I said, "Hey, I've got Reapers in there. You know, that's my story," and they went and got like the standard cover anyway. I'm like,
Really?
So I need to up my donation.
I'm like, where's the love? But the PDF pack here is right now currently over 300 pages of PDF. And it is the plethora of creation. You know, I think there's probably some all ages up until to some adult. I would say if you are getting this PDF pack, and you will for just $1, you can get a sneak peek into the continuum. Definitely go through and make sure if you are sharing, you know, with your kids, that it is age appropriate for your family. But definitely as an adult, you know, there isn't anything in here that you probably that are probably off limits. But I mean, it's just one of those things where we've got our prototype cover here, which was designed by Russ Leach. You know, we've got the wolf. And I'm just going to scroll through here because we don't have a lot of time, and we're trying to keep it to 90 minutes, you guys. But thank you for bearing with me, so I can give our campaign a little bit of love too. Over 40 pages in this issue. We've got a one of a kind reward. I think there are only 3 that Mike J. Seeley is going to do, where one of a kind sketched cover of a superhero of your choosing and the collector's version cover of Eclipse. Oh, well, no wonder why he's kicking our butt. But hey, it's all about the crowdfund, right?
I see. Yeah.
I'm on to you, Mike. I'm on to you. Yeah. We've got Dawn of the Dead with Austin Janowski, and we've got Enter the Wolf that was highlighted, or that is being highlighted this week. Eclipse was highlighted last week. Mike Seeley is the artist and colorist. Bobby Gregory is the writer. Let me see. Scrolling. Hey, where's Reapers? There we are. Saving the best for last, is it? Maybe, perhaps. Co-created by C. Michael Lanning and I, where I'm the writer and I'm lettering. C. Michael is the artist, and Jeremy Kahn is the colorist. And I cannot wait to reveal these pages. I cannot wait until this is in print, you guys. Seriously, I think you're gonna love the story, and you're gonna love what's happening next beyond the continuum.
Looks awesome.
Only Death Can Save Us. Russ Leach is bringing the first 8 pages of Only Death Can Save Us to the continuum. We're very excited about that. You're going to get a quick view of war, pestilence, famine, and death as they try and save the universe as we know it. So you see some things here.
Kind of backwards, but yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know what? But that is the great thing about
That's
it.
a great story, though.
And he does have his entire book. If you are impatient and you're like, what, 8 pages? Well, I mean, back this campaign, but then head over to Indiegogo because he's got it in demand. We've got the prototype covers here still for Eclipse, the Virgin cover of Wolf, and Only Death Can Save Us is a sideways thing because we wanted Team Death on here. And
yeah, that's
course,
a collectible item right there.
Yeah,
collectible.
Definitely. And so is ours, Reapers. You want Reapers in your life. And then, of course, you can get all of the covers for $75. That is the Virgin covers as well as the standard cover. So let me get out of here. And we're going to go around the room and say our goodbyes because our 90 minutes is just about up. Let me go really quickly through comments here and give shout outs to everybody who's tuning in. Creating Chaos 24/7. Thank you for tuning in. Nita Lanning. Trish Bankston is also in the room with us. Hello, everybody. So we're late. Just had family from Iowa show up.
Oh.
That family. Huh.
I hope they knew they were coming. That's all.
Yeah. Mike James Banks, of course, is sharing out our links, and he is
Mike.
when it comes to sharing that out. Matt Campbell.
Thanks, Mike.
To Geek Speak, thank you for tuning in. Matt Campbell, head over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button over there. Let me see. Nita Lanning says, you lose lives like that. Sometimes I walk back there and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot you existed. What were we talking about? I don't know.
Time. Losing time.
I don't remember.
Okay.
She's talking about me. I know.
One of the things we talk about in my classes is time blocking.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to take his class.
I'm telling you.
I need to do better. I have sticky notes and my desk exploded. So it not like Russ explode, but like paper explosions. Yeah. Cameron Christopher Payne, thank you for tuning in. Good evening to you. Am I pimping myself out? Oh,
a little bit.
Yes. Sexy Steely, Supple, Henri Coppin. Well, thank you for tuning in. We've got to get you on one of our shows too. So call me. All right. Cameron, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to go around the room. Let's see. Who's going to go first? Russell Allen, let's get you on the big screen. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook and YouTube at Russ Explode Studios, Books with Heart. I run the podcast on there, doing creator interviews and author, writers, chefs, 3D printers, you name it. We've had it all. So I definitely like getting on and spotlighting indie creators and their work, trying to help get their work out there and their projects and get more eyes on them. Also, it is my author page for Xenonanite Titan, which is live now on Kickstarter. Xenonanite Titan, The Fall Before the Rise follows the story of Raziel Stevens. He's a family man and a scientist who gets called back to work, and an accident happens, hurtling him into an unknown world. Can he make the fight? I mean, it's a family man. He's a scientist. Can he become a fighter and make his way back to his family? Is the Earth even still there? Are they even still alive? You can find out in book 1, live now on Kickstarter.
Awesome. Grant, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook. I'm the only Grant Lankard on Facebook. On everything else, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I'm just at GWLANKARD. This is my comic book, Beowulf. It's on Kickstarter right now. I think you have the links. I'm not going to give the elevator pitch again, but there's cute cats in it, scary dragons. There's a lot of comedy in it. I think
Don't forget the Millennial Slacker.
Right.
And the Millennial Slacker. Awesome. See Michael Lanning.
All right, of course, see Michael Lanning. You can check me out at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm over there sometimes. Then, of course, I'll be on Wednesday Night Wham over on the Silverline channel, talking with those folks over there like we always put up. And then I'll be back on Friday with Weekended, where we talk about mainstream and indie news and comics, because to us, they're all the same.
All right, and I guess I will close out the show here, you guys. Meredith Loughran over at Geek Insider. I am the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast, as well as one of the associate editors over there. And got a Kickstarter happening right now. Enter the Continuum. Make sure that you go over there. You can look up Continuum Comics with an X.com. It'll take you right there. And on that note, Nita Lanning says, we got you, Grant. Henri Russell, solid pitch. We need to have you on for virtual signings with Henri at some point. I'll be in touch. Awesome. And one of the things that was mentioned tonight is comic books for kids, cb4k.org. Make sure that you head over there and give them some love and support. Tell them that Geek Insider sent you. Tell them that Russell Allen sent you. I'm going to take myself off the big screen. All right, you guys, strike a pose. Look beautiful for the screenshot. You guys ready? All right. And we're out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Geek Speak through Geek Insider. Geek out.
Good night, guys.
Good night.